Surely here with Sirius Taurus Moon. This is Jupiter, our Mars, Saturn day. Jupiter is 23 degrees Cancer, and the Moon 18 degrees Gemini, trining the Sun in Libra. Midheaven applying to Black Moon Lilith on 22 degrees Scorpio, Midheaven 20 degrees Scorpio, and Mars 13 degrees Scorpio. Mercury has moved another degree as we speak, moving really fast in Scorpio. And the ascendant is next to Pluto. Indeed, we are having the energy readings before Pluto turning direct. Venus is 27 degrees. She has crossed the opposition to Saturn by the minute. The minute, 1 minute. um, now, I talked about a couple of threads. One was a megalithic juxtaposition happening in the sky, and the fact that there are people around that worked a lot. And this is megalithic to the size of Peter Ort. And what do I mean? That it was so many years. And I was watching about energy sovereignty and so on, and how sexual sovereignty and sexual energy sovereignty is so important to energy sovereignty, and that is so important to sovereignty, and so important for people to have wealth that is actually wealthy, not be subjected to treason cult. And this is also the energy that came, kind of to summarize a little bit of the last episode, before the Saturn Neptune, is that people thought that they can go short on something before the bubble pops. And while they may go short on a physical event, then the energy trajectory that they try to disentangle from will take some time, because with Saturn, as much time as they dedicated to creating problems for another person, I'm talking about people did that on purpose, okay? Because with Saturn, when we tend to something, then things begin to disentangle, even suddenly. And this is why I said, even in my previous reading, to take everything with a grain of salt, because actually that reading can be a little bit like Elijah vomited on Nineveh, and in Nineveh, and said, told Nineveh, okay, because but definitely. And here's the thing: if a person realizes that they did something that is going on a certain trajectory, or suddenly had this epiphany or transmutation, or a positive change of heart, then that will carry out a bigger weight, simply because life energy has more energy than the lower astral. The lower astral can only, it can create, it can divert the creation. Okay? And the lower astral, not people who were cloned, okay? Don't get don't get weird on me, okay? Simply whether a person's operating on lower astral energy, which is all the things with, you see, if the world is downside up or upside down, is basically what we, the people, create of the world. For example, the MK Ultra and cloning project were attempts to create a world where the world is upside down, to extinguish the humanity from humanity. And we saw that they were unfortunately quite successful doing so. And what would it take to extinguish cruelty from humanity? Okay, it's an open-ended question here that's authentically open-ended. And I talked about the fact that certain people, in a point where they were helpless and thought nobody listens, nobody hears, did things that were touching on the core of the earth. And it might take even decades for them to understand what a shock they made to the core of the earth. And so also it might take for us a time to understand, and now we have, think about all the scientists that were assassinated that created this is billionaire debts exposed dangerous secrets, and this is the strange why. That they also have a video that I actually saw when Pluto was in 1 degree. Glitches in reality, government manipulation, but basically talking about the scientific discoveries that got their inventors assassinated. Wonderful, wonderful channel. Science can't explain, and so on. So I was one of those researchers that began to delve into the philosophy of science that explains that. And you, the collective, probably have been a part of that trajectory as well. So about this megalithic juxtaposition that is happening in the sky, and the people that are trying to, okay, there is a separation between the old coping mechanisms of trying to assert control by power abuse or blame shifting, and the underlying mechanisms that are being discovered. Okay, particularly when we take energy maneuver into account, then the world of evidence looks completely different. And what's happening is that, for example, people wonder, why don't we have a free, Tesla invented energy, free energy, so many years ago. Why don't we have? Because to have sovereign energy, free energy, we have sovereign energy, we need sexual sovereignty, we need sovereignty in the life energy. And the people that are not there yet, we're building up to that point. But for that, people can't say somebody is it's satanic panic when there are Googleplex testimonies of people. People can't say she was a whore when somebody was raped. The people can't say, oh, they just want to be famous when somebody was violated by somebody, and exposes that that name happened to be a famous name because this is how they work in those societies. So what's happening is that there were so many things that were bringing this megalithic juxtaposition into alignment, and again, it's both on a mundane level, and we're going to see it on person to person level. And what is happening now is that as much work was done around bringing to this moment, is as much as it's going to take to disentangle for those that were doing things behind the scenes. They were trying to generate results that are, how should I say that? Not in the alignment of truth. Very simply put. Not in the alignment of sexual sovereignty, of energy sovereignty, and so on and so forth. Now, again, I'm not saying that after this Venus-Saturn opposition or Saturn-Neptune is going to be utopia. Not at all. It's just that this is a point in time where indeed a certain separation, split is happening between worlds. The worlds that operate by power abuse and the worlds that operate by transmutation of something. Now, again, why did I say to take with a grain of salt? Because right now, people can still take it to a point where, let's say, Pluto turns direct, okay? We will see the result of what is happening right now way better. So right now, also Venus is applying to oppose Neptune. So anything that was, now here's the thing, because it's the last moment before a big event, Okay, I gave the example of a 9/11. 9/11 is a small event juxtaposed to Saturn Neptune, with Saturn ruling out of bounds Pluto. But let's say 9/11. People that moments before 9/11, let's say they got away from the building, because they were, and some of them maybe were infiltrated, planning something, got away from the building, thought they got short with it. What we don't see is what happens to them later. Or people, there are a lot of companies, social media companies, big tech companies, even car companies. They were doing a lot of creative energy theft, and they're like thinking they got away with that. Energy is transmuting, and as much as they worked on that, is as much as it would take to disentangle from what they did. Now, for the people that were the victim of that, it may take some time, let's say, to realize what was the cause, which is a process of healing and recovery. Okay, so some people, let's say, tend to overgrowth of yeast. And the many challenges that they have along the way is basically disentangling the things that were set to disentangle. And the thing is that when they try to, let's say, psychically attack, person at first they're helpless. So what does a helpless person do? Writes a satire, posts a video. Okay? Now at that point when a person is feeling helpless, they don't see themselves as powerful. Now if what they wrote is just the truth, so that truth needed to come out. and and then for other people, and here's the thing, a person might feel helpless because power is used against them in a way that is power abusive. Okay, somebody tries to disempower them, and they feel helpless, and they write the truth, basically. Another case is where a person feels helpless because they understand that there is a trajectory they haven't foreseen to what they consciously did to abuse power over another. And over another that wasn't abusing the power. So we are in the last moments of people sifting the wheat from the muck and understanding what was here power abuse, what needs to be refined, what needs to be transmuted. But there are also people that are conscious about the fact that they try to abuse power. And this is where they are feeling maybe even helpless because they understand that that truth is out. And they understand even that the more that they try to abuse the power, the more the truth was out. And so now, particularly the people that had their emotions attached or ego attached to that, they might not understand. But I think by the 14th, they will. And this is where Pluto goes direct and out of bounds. So, um, so this is where um, a lot of people are clearing the residues of a psychic attack. Yes, Pluto rules occult. But what I see for this megalithic juxtaposition is that um, those people, okay, I saw something really funny in the energy. Think about the person that has a Uranus, Pluto, which is electric power, and standing in front of a person that's holding like a metal or ring or rock, which is like Saturn, and how the energy creates energy of that could be like electrocution. And this is a natural phenomenon. um, this, but this is where, yeah. And the one says, "But please take that, take, take that ring off. But please take that Peter ring off." So, yeah, Uranus is also quite a humorous planet sometimes. Um, so, Venus Alkaid, good time to call on Alkaid, and she's applying to trine Uranus and Pluto for a change. Now, how should I say that? There are many interests around a certain juxtaposition. Okay, this particular position, and what's happening is that the truth comes out, and the value that stands the test of time is that value of that truth. So think about Venus value, but also love language. Okay, a love that is actually loving. That requires sexual sovereignty. That that requires energy sovereignty, because sexual energy, which leads to energy sovereignty. And so everyone that was operating to have sexual sovereignty, to have sexual energy sovereignty, which naturally means that they would not violate another, like a sovereign person doesn't violate a person. Okay, and if they consciously violate a person, is because they're going consciously in the wrong direction to gain their sovereignty. Okay, violate, I mean, for the people to disempower a person. Now, it all goes down to the reality check on all of those people that thought that they can do it in the energy, then they can get away with that. They can do it behind the scene, then they can get away with that. They can do it through bureaucracy, they can get away with that. They can trigger up, spike up some sickness in a person, they can get away with it. All of that trajectory, all of that dumbfuckery is coming to dissolve. That's why I say the world is not going to be utopia afterwards, but definitely it's an expiration date. And for those people that have been trying to find the source of their ailment and to recover and curate this and curate that and so on, and if people have been hoping that somebody will come to their senses and uh, enslave themselves already, then what they find is that the people come to their senses and go against any timeline and trajectory and belief that would put people in enslavement. It's not about making. Now, here's the thing: if somebody is falsely imprisoned, it's not about making the prison more beautiful. It's about getting them out of prison. Now, if somebody is rightfully imprisoned, all that one can do is make the prison a little bit more beautiful. I said Korban out. But that was something. That was not making the prison a bit more beautiful. And anyway, um, here's the thing that if somebody tried to imprison somebody instead of somebody, then let's just say they want I think they need to think about how much time they wanted that somebody that they tried to sacrifice or to imprison to do. Because and my mom even sneezed on that. Bless you. Now here's the beautiful thing. I have no idea who that person is or why. I have no idea why. I don't know. I have no idea who that person. Um, and yeah, that's just very weird. But here is the thing. That is anything Saturn, Pluto, and Saturn is applying to sextile Pluto. Okay, when Saturn will go direct, it's about changing those systems of imprisonment. I've been tending to the topic of security, prisoners and political prisoners, but also to the topic of what's done to children in hospitals and to people that are youth in youth at risk. Um, Particularly if people cloned or birthed people to think that they will be their slaves. Now I know that India has some streams of beliefs that believe that the children are indebted or in karma to their parents, and again, children, for example, when they are born, the parents take care of them. When the parents are older, the children they take care of the parents. But if this is important, because if when they believe when the children are born, the children need to take care of the parent, then who will take care of the parent later? Okay, there's think about the parentified child, and it's not a conscious thing. I don't know. Many things come up. Mhm. Yeah. Now here's the thing. In those classified projects, there is both MK Ultra and MK Often, and they have both occultists and psychologists. When psychology is used to perpetuate trauma on purpose, it means something. It creates a certain trajectory that has implications. And not only on the entire field of psychology as a scientific field, um, also when it comes to occult. I had a colleague, and she did something very impressive with occult, and she was wondering about the studies of long-term effects of magic and astrological magic. Now, MK often also uses occult, but to target individuals. To be very honest, I don't know if she is working for MK Ultra or not. I saw that we were having sometimes exact same nature of psychic attacks. She has Raw Moon to my ascendant, that's why. So, Raw Moon person can get psychically attacked, and my ascendant, it would be of same nature, or I would be suffering from that as well. I don't know. But there's something about caregiving, birthing, and the abuse of those. Okay, grooming someone to be trafficked is basically working on those psychology techniques. Um, okay, grooming someone to be trafficked is like toxic parenting. Also, when it comes to what people call narcissistic abuse, is about they try to get to person-to-child states and then abuse them as child. So unfortunately, that happened to me by a psychologist, and I saw of the way that it happened that he was working very hard to bring me, the child, to the room. I even bought a stuffy, and I came with the stuffy. And then suddenly, before that, it was difficult for me to see his eyes because I felt um, like sensory overload. And that time, I saw his eyes immediately because me, the child, was there, and immediately I saw his eyes. His eyes were really shining, but then I saw the expressions on his face. He began to have um, uh, um, like those electric shocks that people have when they switch identities under did an MK Ultra, and then he began to be very violent to me, but through psychic attack, and then he threatened my life, and it was so sad because he worked so hard on bringing me the child, and when it happened, he was not so much in control as much as he was being brain controlled, and then he would be like puppeteer that he would try to mind control me to kidnap me. Bless you. So I saw that the people that traffic children to the pedo rings or try to kidnap people, they are mind controlled and they try to mind control. There were a lot of, let's say if there's going to be big plague and many people die that were doing those type of trajectories, I would not be surprised. Because when you think what is the solution, you say only of something in the nature of Neptune.